Your Excellency Amina Gurib Fakim, former President of Mauritius, Your Excellency Mrs. Anne Marie Davis, First Lady of Bahamas, Right Honourable Patricia Scotland, Commonwealth Secretary General, honourable dignitaries, ladies and gentlemen, good morning and warmest welcome in Kigali. We are pleased that despite a 2-year halt imposed by the COVID-19 pandemic, the 2022 Commonwealth Heads of Government meeting, CHOGM is holding here in Kigali, Rwanda, under the theme, Delivering a Common Future, Connecting, Innovating, Transforming. Comprising 4 forums, today we launch one of the most anticipated, the 2022 Commonwealth Women's Forum. I hope you share my high spirits. This year's theme, Delivering a Common Future, Transforming for Gender Equality, affords us the opportunity to focus on 4 imperatives to move the needle for equitable development, namely women in leadership, women's economic empowerment, gender and climate change, and ending violence against women. As if the challenges of women were not hard enough, the world today is faced with a multitude of crises which only serve to further widen the gender gap and deepen the economic divide, from the effect of COVID-19 to the impact of Russia-Ukraine war, including inflation, understandably the hike of basic food and energy prices, disruption of trade, and the rising cost of debt, among others. From the disproportionate impact of climate change on women and men in the global south to the predominantly female online bullying, sexual exploitation, and violence across the world, it seems that obstacles to equality have multiplied, mutated, and evolved. Ladies and gentlemen, the last Commonwealth Women's Forum held in London in 2018, in its stock-taking, acknowledged that despite concerted effort to transform the subordinate position of women and girls in society, and notwithstanding progress made thus far towards gender equality, the advancement of women and girls was slow. The forum called for greater investment to address gender inequalities in all areas of social, civic, and economic life, including in efforts to mitigate the adverse effects of climate change. This is a common thread in almost all global assessment on progress towards achieving gender equality. With less than a decade to go to achieve the SDGs 5, the urgency is palpable, particularly on SDG 5. The Women's Forum is happening at the crossroads of critical economic and social change, where the young woman, particularly in tech and innovation, may just be that game changer that is needed, provided that the nurturing environment, resources, and support is available. The statistic of gender inequality, which will be repeated during this forum, may be uncomfortable to hear, but they serve to highlight the importance of immediate action. After all, there is nothing pleasant about knowing that half of women across the world have experienced or know a woman who has experienced gender-based violence. There is nothing tolerable about the fact that, as we speak, 3/4 of 1 billion female children are married, and this is against their will. For as we all know, ladies and gentlemen, children cannot consent to marriage. The draft 2020-2030 Declaration of Gender Equality, to be scripted over the next 2 days, must mobilize CHOGM and the Women's Forum for decisive action. It must not tiptoe around the gender equality emergency, but dare to seek new and bold pathways to women's political, economic, and social empowerment, fully cognizant of the changing world and times where innovation, technology, climate change, and geopolitical dynamics are changing the global development platform. It must defend with gusto the need for heavy investment in political will, advocacy, financial resources, partnerships, capacity and skill to attain the objective of gender equality, and the full empowerment of women and girls by 2030. The term global reset resonates with me. How can we reset the button on women's leadership, agency, engagement, and empowerment? For one, women's dialogues must be in the mainstream of key decision-making structures and processes, and align with other important development issues, such as those currently ongoing in the other Commonwealth forums, and that is youth, civic, and business. Ladies and gentlemen, the 2022 Kigali CHOGM Women's Forum does not just occur in a country that consistently pushes for the emergence of and recognition of women in leadership. It occurs in a country where rape was used barely 3 decades ago as a weapon of war. Today, Rwanda is ranked by the World Economic Forum as the 7th best performing nation in the world in closing the gender gap. Allow me, esteemed Commonwealth friends, to take you for just a minute down memory lane. The pathway of Rwanda's post-genocide reconstruction was littered with the pain of fragmented families and wounded, traumatized women. Our leaders and liberators of the time had to address the crisis at hand while devising a long-term gender-sensitive strategy to healing that centered around the wellness, prosperity, and empowerment of girls, women, and entire families. Rwanda considers peace and security a condition sine qua non for the attainment of sustainable development. The role of women and girls must shift from victims of conflict to frontline defenders of lasting peace within and between nations. The role played by women in peace building has been the cornerstone of Rwanda's development. We too can adapt our strategies for accelerated progress, our service provision, our collaboration frameworks, our militancy and advocacy, our education and research, and every tool in the arsenal which we combat gender inequality in order to transform for better the landscape in which we exist. Distinguished guests, if not already, I trust that this Commonwealth Women's Forum will make you as confident in saying, yes, we will ensure that there are more women in leadership positions. Yes, we will achieve women's economic empowerment. Yes, we will do our part to mitigate the adverse effects of climate change, especially on women and girls. Yes, together we can, must, and will end the violence against women and girls. Distinguished guests, it's my hope that this forum, Women's Forum, goes down in memory as the catalyst of happening and deep lasting transformation for women and girls in Commonwealth countries and beyond. Thank you for your kind attention.